Seems to be a low turnout today for the session. Okay, maybe we can just start and wait on the first question. So, for those who don't know me, hi, I'm Chiti Arvind, your TA for this course in the basic course in Ornithology. And today we'll be covering questions on week 4. Hopefully, everyone has gone through the lectures, and we can start some discussions now. So, let's go to the first question. Okay, so you're interested in knowing the distribution of feral rock pigeons 500 years from now. What kind of scientific method will you use to get an answer or derive an answer? Will you use an observation technique? Will you use an experimentation technique? Would you be doing modeling, or would you be doing a synthesis? Okay, D. Any other guesses? C. Okay. Both C and D. Okay.
We can synthesize only when. Sorry.
Yeah, Govind, go ahead. Or just let's go with the hand raises. Yeah. Yeah, Govind.
Synthesis is a combination of all the other three, right, ma'am?
Well, sure, but I think it's more of current inferences for synthesis.
Well, we need to perform synthesis.
Hey, Govind, I can't hear you clearly, man. I can't hear you clearly.
We need to perform synthesis of current data, and then only move on to modeling for the future.
Sure, but ultimately, if you had to pick one, what would you pick?
I guess if I had to pick one, it would be C.
Okay.
Ma'am, as it is in the future, like 500 years from now, we can neither observe it nor experiment it because no human can live after for 5 years. So both the A and B are it's not plausible at all.
Right.
And then synthesis is something which is what I have understood is you need to have some kind of framework based on which you can synthesize or experiment. So because of that, the framework is basically modeling. If you model something, you can extrapolate. You can extrapolate that model to say years, and then you can guess, and then you start working.
Right.
So modeling is the one which.
Right, yeah. So in this case, yeah, modeling is the right answer. But could someone explain how would we model this? Maybe somebody who has not spoken yet. I'd like to hear from the others as well. No one? Okay, then what about yeah.
Well, we may not be able to experiment or observe in the future, but we need the other three options to actually come up with a good basis for a model, right? Ma'am?
Sure. Sure, but since the modeling method is going to use the other two methods anyway, that is anyway overarching, right? Girish, no problem. You can type if if that's okay.
Maybe we can draw a model of the present situation, whatever environment situation is there, and taking into consideration all the various studies going on about the various factors which influences several rock regions distribution. Like you can model from the present situation, and then you can guess maximum because it's in the future,
Yeah.
and that too it's a half a millennia in the future. So nobody can even, in fact, in this hypothetical situation, nobody can even guess how the environment will be or how the climate will change in a half a millennia. So you can only propose a model based on the current situation, and you can extrapolate into it the rate at which global warming is happening, the rate at which the city is growing and expanding into the forest areas and
Yeah,
all
I
this stuff.
think, yeah, Harini has brought up a very important point on urbanization. So I think that hits the nail on the head.
That's what I meant. Extrapolating whatever we have at present to that extent, the way in which extent it will change, we can only guess. Because it's a half a millennia, it's a huge time. We can't guess for that. If it is for 5 years or 10 years, we can shortly say this is going to happen. This much urbanization will take place. This much of changes will take place in nature. But it is half a millennia, so you can just guess only. And guessing, there is no space for guessing in science.
Yeah, and yeah, Lakshmi mentioned only the present data, but what about the past? So you can use both, right? You have like the yeah, Govind, go ahead.
Uh, no need to interrupt nothing. Please continue.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I was wondering if
One,
out
hang
of
on, Lakshmi.
curiosity,
We'll go with the hand raises, please. Yeah, Govind.
I was I was wondering if out of curiosity is there really one study like this?
If lot of
Is there was a study like this?
Oh, I am not sure. I just came up with like some hypothetical situation. But there are a lot of studies that do extrapolate distributions of birds, right? So there has been a recent paper that uses SDM techniques, which is basically you model the habitat of birds from the past through the present and then predict where they could be present in the future, right? So so you can get historical maps. So you get the entire landscape data from historical maps, and you can map them through different ages, right? You can see how the landscape looked uh, eh, right from a million years ago at every 100-year interval or every 1,000-year interval or whatever. And then you can also model the climate. So we have a lot of climatic data databases. I think there's something known as WorldClim and something known as Chelsa. So you can get historical data up to the present in these portals, and you can download them and combine them with the distribution data of the landscape, and then you plug in factors which particular birds are the particular birds they prefer, right? So if they're a forest bird or a desert bird, if they prefer living close to water resources or away from water resources, or what part of the strata of the forest that they occupy, or certain life history traits or things that you are aware of. So the thing is that once you have all these data bits with you, you can model as to what the potential distribution of the bird could be in the future. Yeah, Lakshmi, go ahead.
Ma'am, can you just type out those two things which you said? William or Cesar?
World Clim, W-R,
Okay. And one more
World
thing,
Clim,
ma'am. You
and
said that you can take historical data and model through it until present. The last half of the industrialization century, like in the last, in fact, the last 25 years, rampant industrialization, all the climatic factors have accelerated into all those what to say pollution or whatever, erosion of land or any
sure,
deforestation or
correct.
so how will you how we can even model something like 500 years later on when at present in the next 25 years we can't say how fast everything is gonna change.
Well, all our models are not correct, right? We have some expectations that we can have, and I mean, if some catastrophe strikes, I don't know, it can change everything, right? Like either the world will end, or there will be like some ice age or whatever, but that's definitely not going to happen right now, right? I mean, like in the near future, I don't know as per predictions go, but you account for error also in your models. So you can say that this is this much percent accurate given these factors with a room for error. So you can't give a complete prediction. World War III example? What?
An example of a catastrophe that can happen like this.
Sure, yeah. I mean, like you never know, right? I don't think anyone predicted this pandemic to be striking at this point of time, and that probably has altered a lot of different things, right? So, yeah. So there are random events that are going to happen, but if you want to get an idea of where this trajectory is going of distribution of certain species or animals, it can be modeled to this. Like it is just like a what do you say, a prediction. I think Sachin, you had a question.
Yes,
Yeah,
sorry,
go
there was a
ahead.
power cut, so I couldn't continue. Um, my query is related to this such a larger time span. So the species might have evolved with different aspects of the model, right? So how do we take that into consideration?
Sorry, I didn't get exactly.
Um, Meaning, so currently whatever the information that we have
Correct.
for Feral Rock region,
Correct.
Feral Rock region,
Okay, sure.
it might imply that they are accustomed to habitat like the urban habitat or whatever. Uh, but what if some species have already undergone some changes in their behavior or uh, maybe bodily structural or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we take into
That into
that
account?
uh,
That's a really interesting question. So you can have two kinds of, I think, changes that can accumulate. One is genetic changes, which you can see that are hardwired, and the other one is I think what you might have implied is these cultural or behavioral changes, right? And that's quite interesting, and that's something that we are trying to study right now, whether cultural changes do have an effect on there's a lot of people joining in now. If they do have an effect on species behaviorally, but as to how we can account for this, I think it's easier to account for the genetic changes, and genetic changes also take a longer time to get accumulated, right? So I think the feral rock pigeons present, I don't know since when feral rock pigeons came into being, but I'm not sure how genetically different they were from those that are present now. I'm guessing, yeah, maybe there might be changes in like body mass, body size, etc. But yeah, I think that's an interesting point as well. That's an interesting point. So based on like past literature and what you mentioned, we can also get those data from museum samples, right?
Yeah, museum sample was one thing that came to my mind, that whether that can really help us understand this kind of, or maybe that can add as a point in our model or whatever.
Right, yeah. Someone mentioned that's evolution. Yes, sure.
And then the other aspect was the changes in not only the species under the consideration, uh, but also about the other species which are interacting with the species, meaning humans or maybe the predators at that time who are there, right? Whether those have declined or changed their behavior or
Sure.
food habits have changed, something like that, right?
Sure, yeah. Sure, yeah. That
So
that
all that will fall under the modeling aspects itself.
Yes, you can account for predation as well. So if you see feral rock pigeons, I think if you see predation, natural predation is only probably by some raptors. or even like house cats. I think house cats kill a lot of feral pigeons.
That is a natural prediction, but the other aspect is the human itself, like playfulness or something. So people used to domesticate the birds, and don't know whether they might also be killing for gamification or something, gaming
Uh,
purpose, right?
I'm not sure as to the number of birds that are killed. Earlier, yes, they used to be killed, but now
Yeah,
for game, I'm not
that's what I'm
sure.
saying, trying to say, because the human behavior has changed over this 500 years, right? So now we don't see that much of a
Yeah,
use of birds for games,
yeah,
but earlier, yes, ducks have been killed and all these things, right?
right,
But yeah, that's
right.
what. So
Yeah, and
that
several species have been driven to extinction, as you have
exactly,
mentioned, because of
exactly.
being like game birds. So, yes, that is true. That is true.
Ma'am,
Yes, go on.
well, my point was 500 years may seem like it's a very large amount of time from an individual or even a civilization perspective. But in terms of evolution, there is not a large number by apart from superficial changes like behavior and cultural changes and the size changes, can we really expect considerable evolution the point of maybe a new species or sufficient differentiation than our last region?
I didn't catch everything, but were you saying 500 years enough to form another species?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is, ma'am. 500
Okay.
years is a long time for us,
Yeah, but in
for
terms of
evolution,
evolution,
it's
yeah,
short.
I am not aware. I'm not an expert in this subject or field, but I do not feel 500 years would be enough to accumulate so many changes so as to they become some genetically distinct species or they split up. Yeah. Yes, Lakshmi.
So they still exist.
Ma'am, just
Yeah, one. Yeah, I don't think Govind's finished. Yeah, Govind.
So technically still be feral rock pigeons, right, ma'am? It may be the
Yeah,
possible more
yeah.
we don't know.
It could be feral rock pigeons, or maybe it could be subspecies of feral rock pigeons. But I'm not sure if 500 years is enough. I could check this up and see whether any species have been dated to uh, separate with us within a span of 500 years.
That's molecular class studies, right, ma'am?
Sorry, that's molecular.
Class studies, right, ma'am?
Yes, you would find this out molecularly. You could date the mutation rates and see how they have accumulated. Yes, of course, there are a lot of like priors that are set, but yes, this is all molecular genomics.
Add to what Govind has said,
Yeah.
as I think we have seen in one of earlier lectures, that example of Peter and Rosemary Grant, right, who
Yes.
studied some finches on Galapagos Island.
Correct. Correct.
So they did observe changes in the structure
Of
of
beaks.
finches or something within few decades. Right?
Yes,
So
correct.
we never know. It may happen, may not happen.
Sure, yes. But also, we must remember that the finches were a very small, isolated system in the middle of nowhere, not attached to any landmass. Yeah, and it was, I think, it had a season of drought or something, so there were no seeds available. So, such harsh fluctuations in climatic or environmental conditions probably occur in areas of smaller size, so speciation is probably more likely in areas where, you know, the magnitude of change susceptible is higher. Yeah. Yes, Lakshmi.
ma'am, ma'am, I just wanted to know what's the culture. If you keep saying cultural things, ma'am, I need to understand that concept. What is the cultural part of birds, ma'am? Like, is it social behavior or
Yes, it has to be social behavior. So, cultures are, I think we'll probably cover this in the acoustic module, which is next week. I can do a nice slide on it. So basically, cultures are socially transmitted behaviors, and they are. Yeah, Lakshmi, you have something else? Okay.
No, by mistake.
Okay. Yes, you have cultures that are socially transmitted, and cultures are usually behaviors that are learned from conspecifics. Conspecifics are those that are individuals of the same species, and these cultures usually form between individuals that interact with each other a lot in a particular area. So, if there is no information transfer between two areas, cultures are likely to form distinctly in different areas, right? Like, I think the commonest example that is used nowadays is just human languages. And if you take, I don't know, Gujarati or Tamil or anything, Tamil
It's like
spoken
flocks,
in the north is.
individual flock of people, individual flock of birds. In one area, one flock is there, and another area, another flock
Not
is there.
flock, it would be a population. A flock is too small, like it won't be like 5 birds doing something. That is not, won't be a culture.
Okay, so the entire population in that particular area.
Yes. So if they all exhibit a particular signature, like the most famous example is of these blue-tit birds that in the UK, in a particular area, they had discovered that they used to take the cream. They had learned how to open these the foil of these cream bottles to pick out milk bottles to pick out the cream on the top. So suddenly, I mean, of course, it must have been started by some birds. Not like all the blue tits suddenly went and started raiding these milk bottles, but these milk bottles that used to be kept outside for delivery in people's houses, some blue tits came there and then pecked off the foil on the top and started eating the cream. And then suddenly this activity spread over a larger area in the same locality, where multiple households found this that their milk bottles had been the seal had been tampered with by these blue tits. So it's some form of information transfer which is known as a cultural transmission, and that occurs, like it's happening in one village but not in another village, of course at a certain distance from each other. Yeah. So we can probably cover more questions regarding or snippets of cultural transmission of various different things in the next lecture. Okay, Astagimat asks if that is speciation or evolution. Which part is this? Sorry, I missed your question.
That is when the changes occur in the birds.
Okay, so when changes occur in, so yes, speciation is evolution occurs to split into species, right? So it's not the same species evolving itself. So this is a very tricky thing. I mean, it's like humans came from monkeys, so are we not monkeys? Or it's that kind of a thing. So I don't think evolution is a linear process. I think that's where people get a lot of things wrong. Like, it's not like a linear process. There are multiple branchings that are happening, if that makes sense.
Okay, I think it's too complicated.
It is, it's a huge discussion that we've gone over multiple classes discussing this, but yeah.
I leave it.
Yeah, great, good question though. Yes, Govind.
By cultural evolution, you mean changes in social behavior, right, ma'am? Whereas behavioral changes with change in an individual's behavior.
Cultural evolution is usually like changes in population of behaviors. Am I getting something wrong, or it's behavior? At the population level, yes, it needs to be at a population level for it to be classified as a culture. But if it's only an individual specific behavior, then it's not a culture.
So what's the difference between behavioral evolution and cultural evolution?
Oh, behavioral evolution and cultural. Behavioral evolution cannot be like culturally transmitted. Like, I don't know, like just the fact that I don't know, a cat hunts a rat, like for example, that's behavior, right? But if a cat hunts a rat in a certain way, everywhere, all over the world, it's behavioral evolution. But cultural evolution is probably if a cat hunts a rat in a certain way, in a certain place, because of certain factors that are only present in a certain place, that becomes cultural evolution. So only this area cats hunt rats in this particular fashion. It's not a blanket way in which cats hunt rats. I don't know, I'm just like making an example off my head, but does that make sense?
Well, could I give an example too, maybe?
Sure.
Feral transmission. Feral transmission.
Sorry.
Behavioral evolution can be in feral transmission.
Uh-huh.
Behavioral evolution can be classified as evolution of the individual's behavior, and cultural evolution can be classified as evolution of relationships with other species.
No, it need not be relationships with other individuals.
That's what a culture is, right?
Yeah, it is spread within a population because of just being exposed to it. Yes, there is some amount of interaction that needs to be involved for the transmission of cultures. That is correct. But behavioral evolution, I think we're just like sticking into terms and going into loops. That doesn't make sense. There is no black and white between the two. They are very interlinked between each other, if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, wow, we have spent half an hour on question 1. Excellent. Moving on. Oh my god, like I've again got a pigeon example. Oh, I should not have. I think I have more pigeon stuff. Okay, this is again another discussion question. So, feral pigeons are found in urban spaces. This is actually a question from the previous lecture. And as a student of ornithology, you are interested in studying some aspects of the species foraging ecology. Okay, so now to collect data, you will be first required to generate an ethogram. Okay, and all of you know what an ethogram is, right? Would someone like to explain what an ethogram is?
Activity tracking related parameters.
Yes.
So that experimental related.
Correct, yes. Ethogram is basically a kind of a fact sheet where you log behavioral data. And so imagine you are a scientist, you are out in the field looking at your study species. You are interested in studying the foraging ecology of this particular species. What are the parameters you will note down?
The time they do foraging activity.
Sure, yes.
The time of the day.
Most important thing, time of the day. Harini says time spent on foraging. Yes, correct.
Whether done individually or in groups.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, because what do you expect, Sachin?
So whether there is a sociology aspect, I mean, are they cooperative in getting the food, or whether they communicate back to other species in the same class, saying that, like crow example we had, right? So
What about just pigeons? Let's just stick to pigeons from what your common observations have been.
What about time spent traveling?
Hang on to that point, Govind. Go ahead, Sachin, if you want to add anything. Oops, I think Sachin is not audible. Yeah, Govind.
Well, that was my point.
What, sorry? Time spent On no, wait, what did you mention? Time spent traveling.
Yes.
Okay, now tell me, how would you study time spent traveling?
You tag the bird, I guess.
You, yeah, imagine you can't tag the bird. Imagine you're just observing birds.
How many times
That
they feed in a given time? How many times they feed in a given day or a particular time?
Uh,
That
sure.
depends on the availability of food, right?
How many times they feed? Like how? Okay, I'm going to 1 second. Please hold that thought, Lakshmi. Yeah, Govind. Do you want to give it a shot on how to measure how long it takes to get there?
well, I guess tagging is the only option available.
Yeah, okay, but you can also follow flocks. So if you know like a
Will that
roosting
be
site,
very
if you know a roosting site of a bird, of a particular species of bird, if they roost all together, I don't know if pigeons all roost together in the same site, but you can follow flocks in the rough direction where they leave the roost during like dawn or come back during dusk, and you can see approximately where they move, which areas they move to, which direction they move to. But it's, yes, very difficult if you're not tagging them or color banding them.
wouldn't wouldn't they wouldn't that be especially true for feral rock pigeons in the city?
Wouldn't what be true? Sorry.
Wouldn't it be especially hard for studying feral rock pigeons in the city?
Eh,
Study the traveling time.
Yeah, exactly. So that is probably not one of the parameters that you would use in studying like the foraging ecology, right? There are so many like other things that you could also. It's a very broad topic, but that
Not
would not be a subtopic.
not without tagging them.
Sorry.
But fortunately, since pigeons are so abundant, it wouldn't be too hard to tag them in the city right now.
Yeah, tagging comes with its own set of complications, but instead of using tags like that give absolute GPS tracking, you can just color band the birds. So a lot of game pigeons are color banded and they have numbers. So if the bird is standing, you can read the ring numbers. So you can just color band the birds, and wherever they go, you can just read the numbers or the colors where they are from, and you can trace it back to its source from where it came. But yeah, yeah, Lakshmi, you want to discuss?
No, ma'am. Yeah, there was this one of the lectures. They said that from the nest, how far the food availability is there. It depends on how much less is taken in the week and how much more is taken in the week, or held in the week and when going back. I'm
Okay.
saying for this for Sudarshan thing, but what I asked is if there is a good availability of food to the rural regions, then we can, if the area has good amount of food for them, then we can count, I mean, how many times they feed on things and how, that there's an interval between two feeding times in the program.
Okay, but it's
It's not like humans, right? They eat in the morning, in the evening, in the night. Not like that. No, they will feed whenever they are hungry, right? Or
Sure.
when they have chicks, in and the nest is nearby,
Sure.
then they will feed more, right?
Let's,
So,
yeah, maybe let's not take into account nesting or anything, just general foraging of feral rock pigeons,
yeah,
adults.
general. I'm saying, ma'am, if it is feeding, then how many times it feeds and how much of the flock size is how much when it feeds.
Okay, hold that there. How many times is a feral rock pigeon going to feed in a day? How will you find this out?
We can throw
Without
like, we can-
tagging, okay? Without tagging.
Not tagging, ma'am. We can people do know they throw they spread the seeds on the veranda or balcony to attract pigeons to, ma'am.
Yeah.
We can see if we have a lot of time in hand and we are completely free, we can sit in the day and we can see how many times it has come and it has taken.
It has come means, are you talking about one pigeon or multiple pigeons?
I'm saying about the flock, ma'am.
Okay, about
Flocks,
the flock.
they move together, no, man. One, not a single pigeon comes. Actually, there is this rounding with them. No, they come and they circle the place and then come back to the same place, no, man. I have seen near my home flocks of pigeons, minimum at least 10. They get flushed, they take a circuitous route, and then they come back and sit and eat again.
Right, right.
So,
Okay, so you're saying the entire flock. But
yeah.
so time of foraging, I mean, sure, I think if you have tagged birds, it is easy. But if you have untagged birds, it's difficult to see the feeding time, right? Because if they could be pigeons feeding the entire day, but they might not be one particular bird, right? So yes, you can probably have an activity peak where you can say where you can plot number of individuals foraging and time of the day foraging. So you could get like with an unlimited source of food. That could probably be one thing.
Is there any proper answer to this, ma'am? This question?
No, it's an open question, right? Because you can choose one particular aspect to study foraging ecology. I can choose another particular aspect. Someone has not mentioned one particular interesting thing that is easy to test out here based on foraging ecology. Okay, I think
Site of foraging, ma'am. Where it is easily available or how tough the food is
sure.
available?
Yes,
Site of feeding, ma'am. Like
yeah.
where they usually hunt. If they have a particular liking to some particular place where we get easy food,
Right, right.
then they will flock there more.
Yeah.
And if they have to put effort more and go far, then there will be less.
Sure, yes, available. Yeah, sure. The site easy to access. Hello, Joseph. Good to have you here from another country, and hope you're enjoying the course as well. Yes, Sachin mentions type of food. That's what I was looking for. I missed this in the chat box. Sachin also says mixing with other species. Well, yeah, yes, mix foraging flocks. Yes, we'll be covering that too. Food availability. Yes, type of food. So type of food is something that needs to go into an ethogram, right? When you're trying to study foraging ecology, you're trying to see what exactly these birds are eating. Are they eating seeds? Are they eating insects? What type of grain they are eating? If they have a preference to any particular type of grain, because people, as Lakshmi had mentioned, throw a lot of grain in several different places in the city, right? It might be bajra, it might be some other form of millet, it might be rice, it might be wheat. So yes, type of food is really important. Yes, Govind. Okay, social interactions during foraging, yes, that is also important, because how many individuals are feeding in one area, or if are so there is like a really neat way of seeing how group foragers how efficient they are in foraging based on the time spent in vigilance, and the time spent in searching for the food, and in the time spent in actually eating the food. And this depends on the group numbers as well. So what would you actually expect?
Ma'am, I have a question related. How long do pigeons, fellow rock pigeons, actually move in flocks?
How long do they move in flocks?
No, do they actually move in specific flocks, or they just move from? Is there
Oh, are they low? Oh, I actually don't know if they stick to the same flock or they join different flocks. If flocks are fixed, I'm assuming not, but I'm not really sure. For that, you will have to have like a huge bunch of tagged individuals. But this possibly falls under the umbrella of collective behavior in birds or any animals. So that's probably some area that you could explore for that. Okay, weather, temperature. Yes, that will be other things that is included in the ethogram. Surely, if it's raining, are they foraging more, or what particular things are they foraging? Temperature, yes. Also, well, feral rock pigeons are urban birds, so there is no seasonality in availability of resources. But if you are studying some species that is non-urban, the temperature and weather will definitely affect availability of food resources, and also perhaps the foraging source itself of the food item. Yes, time of the day, yes, all those factors. Okay, so everyone does have a good idea of how to create an ethogram, which is good. I am going to go on to the next question. Okay, why do some birds engage in cooperative breeding? To increase their chances of survival, to increase their reproductive success, to increase their territory size, or to increase their hunting skills? If you had to pick only one. Okay, how many people are we? 18, no, 16. I need 16 answers here. Okay. Okay, so I think a lot of folks have mentioned B, so that is indeed the correct answer. Oh, Deepthi says B. No, it's cooperative breeding. The term itself should be a giveaway because it indicates breeding. So yes, the only option linked in this to breeding is reproductive success. So yeah. All right. Next question. More discussions. You are interested in understanding whether nectivorous birds are attracted to brightly colored flowers. Okay. Now you have to design an experiment to test this hypothesis. Okay. So please take like 2 minutes to actually think of what you would like to put in this experiment and how you would design it, and also what are the factors you would be incorporating in this experiment. Yeah, Govind.
Ma'am, I thought of a rather simple but hopefully effective experiment.
Okay.
I take an insectivorous bird, like say a hummingbird or a sunbird, for example, and
Yeah.
then I take a small, I wouldn't say jar, like a slipper with the amount of nectar in it, and I see whether how many birds are actually attracted to the source of nectar, ma'am. And and I, then I and then for the actual experiment, I place three sources of nectar. One would be completely dry, which is source.
Okay, now give me specifics, Govind. Give me specifics. What describe these sources of nectar?
One source of nectar would simply be like a pot or a jug. Another one would be covered with colorful flower-like design, similar to that of what you'd find in a natural source. A third would simply be would be similar to a flower, but would be completely drab, like black or greenish.
Okay. So let me pause you right there. So the three different situations that you have described are highly different from each other, right? So whenever you design any experiment, it's always good to have a experimental series of experimental models, and then you have a control, right? Okay, so a control is basically something that is um, you need to have to account for all the other factors that is already present. Okay, we'll discuss this what is a control also. I'm just going to read what Sachin has put. Two sets of flowering plants, one that are brightly colored, other dull colored, both having similar nectar content. Yes, that is very important. It needs to have similar nectar content and at similar levels, correct. Use the same species and allow the same level of access to these two sets. Same species of flower or bird?
No, okay. No, same species of bird.
Okay.
For example, if I am experimenting with hummingbird, I'll use hummingbird.
Okay.
And there are two sets placed in front of them, maybe 5 to 10 hummingbirds in count or something like that.
Okay.
A number, and then in front of them there will be two sets, one with those flowers, the
Yeah.
similar nectar content. One will be brightly colored flower like lantana or something like that.
Okay.
By similar levels, I mean that
I understood.
usually nectar set at different levels, right?
Yes,
I mean,
correct.
inside or outside something.
Yeah.
So that kind of setup I was looking for.
Yeah.
And then I see where do they go most of the time.
Sure. Yeah. So Harini also adds on to that. Has to be the same flower that comes in different colors. Yes, that would be ideal. Same flower, different colors, and ranging from bright to dull, and also having the same level of nectar, as Sachin mentioned, right? So yeah, that would be yes, Lakshmi.
Hanuman, I was just thinking aloud on Harini's point. Same flower, different nectars, I mean different colors. It should also be the nectarifying plant for the bird. The bird should have an affinity to that nectar. Not all flowers are visited by the birds, right? Some species only they are.
Yes, correct. So also like these, so birds are opportunistic feeders, right? So I'm sure all of you have seen hummingbirds feeding from nectar on feeders, right? I think that's where Govind also got his idea from. So you can also design artificial flowers with like they could be like plastic flowers, like a tubular flower which probably is easy for the bird to use, and you have a range of colors put in your, I don't know, study site. So maybe it was a nectar feeder that already exists, but now instead of the nectar feeder you have these flowers that are present below it, plastic flowers with the same content of nectar and different colors, right? So you can easily measure. Yes, Govind.
And that was exactly going to be my point. That was basically my experiment, ma'am. I guess I didn't explain it well. Yeah, the first part would have been, I would take a natural flower and I take an exact replica of it that I made artificially to see that the birds aren't influenced by smell or some other aspect of the natural flower. If they aren't, then I would present different varieties of artificial ones, like one with color without any gap, one which has the same color as the natural one, and some with a completely different color.
Right. Yes. Yes, Naresh. Hello. Oops. Okay.
No, ma'am, I'm saying nothing much while company.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Govind. So yes, you are correct. I think just in maybe like the formulation of what you wanted to say, we lost out on something. But yeah, you are correct. in having like an artificial source that mimics a natural resource, which is attractive to the birds anyway. And you can also account for so you have to pay attention to like the shape of the flower, if you're actually putting like a plastic flower or not, if everything has to be consistent. So yeah, Govind.
I also think it's important to compare the natural flower itself and an artificial replica to ascertain that the birds are not attracted by smell or something. They're simply attracted only by the color of the flower.
Sure. Yeah, you could also spray the artificial flower with like some smell of the actual flower. Yeah, but this is kind of like an experimental setup. So, like a lot of people do experiments in laboratories and they extrapolate it to birds in the wild. But we all know there are so many other environmental factors that act on it, right? So, yeah, ideally, yes, natural would be best.
The point of the experiment was to see that birds are attracted by the color, not by the smell. That's
Right, but we know that birds don't have a great sense of smell. I think we discussed it in the earlier class. And yeah, you had mentioned, I think it was you who had mentioned some vultures that have a heightened olfactory smell, olfaction level or something. But yeah, you're breaking, Govind. And Naresh, I'm going to just mute. Yeah, you've muted yourself. Yeah, Govind?
I mentioned turkey vultures.
Turkey
and
vultures.
albatross.
Yes. Correct. Yeah. Yes, hibiscus and sunbirds are probably, an ideal thing to look at in India. If we had hibiscus, a single hibiscus plant with multiple different colors, I know that probably does not exist. That would be, yes, gold standard, ideal. I think someone
Ma'am,
else
it
had
exists, ma'am.
raised their hand.
It exists, ma'am.
Okay, great.
One hibiscus flower with it exists, ma'am. Those kind of plants exist. One hibiscus plant with multiple color of flowering. It exists. It's a bit costly to get the sampling, but
Okay.
you get that, ma'am. These days it comes. I have seen in one of my neighbors.
Multiple colors like red, blue, or is it just multiple grafts because they just grafted different
Yeah,
stems?
that's what, in the sense, not red, blue, and all. It's just like orange, red, and white.
Okay.
All the three colors in the same. It was a fancy stuff which was gifted to her in her some function or something.
Lakshmi,
Yeah,
I
it
think
quickly
this
died.
is Lakshmi. This is an ideal thing for. Oh, it died. Oh, I was going to say this is an ideal thing for you to check.
3 months or something it died because obviously they were flouting the rules of nature. But crazy people can do crazy things. So anything can be expected.
I was going to say this is a good experiment for you to do, but yeah, looks like that's not going to be possible.
And so it's a genetically altered plant.
Yeah. So you can just graft different stems, and once the graft sets, it will start like flowering based on what the original graft was. Anyway, I am going to move to the next question. So given alongside is a graph of a pigeon, again, yay, being hunted by a goshawk or a goshawk, which is a predatory bird, and there are two graphs given alongside, so you can take a minute to look at the graphs and explain to me what exactly it says. Yeah, Lakshmi, I'm going to wait for another minute to see. Okay. Anyone apart from Lakshmi, Govind and Sachin? You can please feel free to use the chat box also. Okay, yes.
Yeah, I think it's a success rate from which distance it's hunting.
From which distance?
distance between the prey and the
Okay.
hawk.
Okay. So could you 1 second, Govind? Hang on. Asagimat, would you like to explain like the first graph, what it actually shows?
It's if the distance is less, so success rate is high.
No, the first graph, which is A, it actually has on the x-axis, it has number of pigeons in a flock and percent of attack success on the y-axis.
Yeah, x-axis not mentioned. I thought it is the distance.
No, it's number of pigeons in a flock. It's the same for both the graphs.
Yeah, so it means if there is this, as the number of pigeons less in the flock, okay, the success rate will be high.
Correct, yeah. So the attacking is higher when pigeons are solitary rather than when they are in a group.
Yeah,
Okay, and what about the second graph?
that's the distance from which it is attacking.
Right, exactly. So larger flocks take flight at a greater distance from the hawk, right?
Yeah, how long the chase is, how far the chase has to be.
Yeah, and why is that? Why do larger why is that thing happening in the second graph?
Higher energy input, and hence birds might get tired. I mean, like hunting, if it takes a lot of time and a lot of chasing happening.
No,
then there will be,
no. 1 second. So the y-axis is mean reaction distance. So basically, the mean reaction distance. Okay. Yeah, Babu Shahane. Okay, mean reaction difference. Okay. 1 second. Let me just explain the y-axis. It's mean reaction distance. I think everyone's written different
Yeah.
things. Basically, it is the distance at which a pigeon reacts to a predator being present near it, right? Median. Oh, sorry. Median
That's what I
reaction.
meant by
Yeah.
the chase, ma'am. That's what
Yeah.
I meant by the chase. You know, the chase is where when the bird prey, when the prey feels predators nearby,
that's
they
what
start
somebody-
running away, ma'am. So in that sense, I said, if it flies and gets scattered, how big the scattering is and how much time the bird has to, I mean, the predator has to chase and have a kill, you know. Because it includes the energy involvement or investment also. Optimal energy should be there so that there is success in getting prey.
I think you have missed
Doesn't
the most
second
important
graph, the
point.
median reaction distance is
Yeah, Govind, like it's.
explains how what.
I can't hear you at all, sorry. Like it's just I'm hearing a buzz. Yeah, Sachin, would you like to add?
I would say the mean reaction distance is higher in the flock while the attack is happening because they might be feeling safe when they are in flock. So they might not immediately catch that action that the predator is coming to them for a kill or something.
No. No. I think we've gotten this like the other way around. Are you saying that
See,
because they are in the flock?
You mentioned
Scared in mass hypothesis, ma'am.
you mentioned the median reaction distance to be when the pigeon reacts, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Ma'am,
So I was
scared in mass
thinking-
hypothesis
so I
comes
was-
into play.
1 second, Lakshmi. Let one person talk, please.
So I was thinking that if I'm a pigeon and I'm in a flock,
Yeah.
I might feel safe when
Yeah.
I'm in a bigger flock. So I might react later or delayed response kind of thing when there is an attack happening.
No, so this is mean reaction distance to the prey, right? So
Right.
here it is like so I am reacting
Oh.
when I am 1 meter away or I am reacting when I am 60 meters away. So what does
Oh.
this graph show?
I see. So you mean to say that even if the prey predator is at higher distance, it is responding to that even when it is a bigger flock?
Yes. Why is that? That's what the graph shows, right? So if you see the, I don't know, 1 second, let me just, no, larger the flock, faster, Okay, we're not talking about speed of time. We're not talking about speed of time. We are talking about distance at which it responds.
Yeah.
Okay, so no early, no late. We are talking about distance.
Distance,
Let me one second.
Maybe the outer birds in the flock, where the birds are on the outer sense, they sense the predator much more faster than this, and that's why they can sense the bird much in the distance, long distance also. Like the center birds in the center, they don't have to rely much on their intuitions. They can just follow the group. It's like safe in the mass hypothesis.
Safe in the mass hypothesis. Okay. Did you say safe in the mass hypothesis?
No, not in the mass, not mass, ma'am. There is one hypothesis. I forgot the name.
Okay, I'm also not sure, but I'm going to use. Can everybody see this pointer?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here we have number of pigeons in a flock, right? So you have 1 to 50, and then you have median reaction distance, which is ranging from 0 to 60. Now, as you can see out here, as flock size increases, median reaction distance also increases, right? Safe together hypothesis. Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, so when you are basically in larger numbers, you react. Who was this? I don't know. Was it Govind?
Right. I'm thinking before, I was just wondering if you can know.
Sorry. Did you say if
Yes.
I can hear you now? Because it's like reaction is magnified in larger flocks. Yes. I'm going to just modify that a bit. Reaction is quicker, or reaction. So if an individuals in a group of 50 fly away when the predator is at 60 meters, but an individual bird flies away when the predator is only 10 meters away. And if a bird is only 10 meters away, that means there is a higher percentage of chance of the bird being killed than when it flies when it is 60 meters away, when it is in a group, right? Does this? Yeah. So Govind has brought the point. So larger flocks can observe quickly because there are multiple individuals, right? And yes, correct. Priya, yes, correct. More eyes are on the lookout for predators. Yes, now we're getting to the point. More eyes to spot a goshawk. Yes. Are the birds on the outer side of the flock are in easy to catch to predator? Yes, that's a correct point. And also in several flocking species. Am I stuck? Oops. I'm going to turn this pointer off. Okay. There are hierarchies not only in foraging areas. If it's an aerial predator, probably it doesn't make any difference. But if it is feeding in some, if it's feeding on a tree or something like that, probably the outer individuals are going to be more susceptible than the individuals that are inside. Plus it would be a follow the first scenario, as if I'm assuming that scared ones fly first, others will also tend to fly away. Okay. Do all type of birds have the same view? Yes, I think all of them can identify what is a predator and what is not. In several bird species, I think like babblers that are group flocking species or group foraging species, you also have certain individuals that are sentinels, right? So they are on the lookout for predators while the rest of them spend time foraging. So in certain group structures, they have role designations. Yes, Lakshmi?
Ma'am, sorry to digress. Just wanted to connect two things in this. I wanted to understand much better. That's why I wanted to ask. Does this mean those which are susceptible in a flock, the outside, whatever birds are there, they are much more susceptible to predation than the one which is tightly packed in the inside right now.
See,
So
I think it's difficult with these, like if you're talking about feral rock pigeons on a flat surface, I think a predator can probably just go anywhere it
flying,
wants.
I said in the flying one because these raptors they usually hunt during the flying, So I just wanted to ask if in a flock and outside those ones which are on the loose on the outside, they get hunt. Is this kind of an altruism, like they sacrifice their right for the betterment of flock, or like
What? Sorry. No, I don't think there is any altruistic behavior that comes into play out here, in particularly pigeons. But in terms of what you are suggesting, I think it's probably a dilution effect that comes into play, because when multiple birds scramble all together, it distracts the predator from locking a target, right? So it's unlikely that the predator, I mean, unless it's like a walking predator or it's a cat or something, then I can understand if individuals are on the outer end are more susceptible to the ones that are in the center of the group. But if you look at aerial predation, it's probably going to be anywhere.
so is this a cause for murmurations also, which we see in few
Yeah,
species?
I'm not exactly sure of the purpose of murmurations, especially in starling. I am not sure. Well, if you could look it up and see for any reasons behind having murmurations, that would be great. But yeah, but in shoaling or schooling fish, yes, they do form different patterns to distract predators. Sorry, and to escape. Yes, Govind.
Ma'am, can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
The question that was being discussed previously was what was median reaction distance, right? Ma'am?
Yeah.
Well, I had some bad connection there. Well, my answer from the first was that the pigeons would, the larger the flock, the more eyes, and they could spot the hawk or whatever predator was much quicker, right? And that's why they could react
Yeah.
a lot faster in this case.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that's all that everyone has posted on the chat box as well. So, yeah, we just discussed exactly that. Does the same graph hold if a flock of predators meet another flock of prey? I have no idea. I have no idea.
Also regarding murmuration, I've seen a lot of documentaries in which large schools of fish swim together.
Yeah, I
to
just
avoid,
mentioned. Yeah, I just mentioned. I don't know, Govind, if you're out of, like, if you're not hearing the audio as well. We just discussed that with Lakshmi. Yeah, regarding like fish
I heard
avoiding. Oh, you heard this? Okay.
I heard bits and pieces. My
Okay.
college version of those a bit hard.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know if it is multiple prey and multiple predators, how the graph looks like. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a situation where we have multiple birds that hunt. I can only think of mammals in mind, but yeah, no idea. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question. Oops. Okay, so in cooperative breeding, who is typically responsible for incubating eggs? Typically responsible. The dominant pair, the helpers, the entire group, or the youngest member? Typically responsible. Let me emphasize on that. Okay, A. Okay, we have a B, a D, an A, B, B. Okay, so out here the answer is actually A, it's the dominant pair, and the dominant pair is assisted by helpers, right? So the dominant pair, typically it's a dominant pair that uh, invests most of the time in incubating eggs, not the helpers.
No, the answer is please.
It's A. It's the dominant pair that spends most of the time, most of the incubating roles, and the helpers usually spend time feeding the chicks once they hatch, or feeding the adults while they are incubating. Yeah, mostly it's the female only, the dominant female that incubates. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the next one. The next one is more of a discussion thing again. So here is an illustration of Florida scrub jays, and I think in the lesson as well this was discussed. They are cooperative breeders, and so this is why we have helpers, right? So can maybe once you go through this, would someone like to add something on uh, the social structure in Florida scrub jays? And I think
What's the
someone
question?
would someone like to comment on the social structure of cooperative breeding in Florida scrub jays, and also maybe comment on the dispersal of males and females in this particular species? This was all there in the lesson, so if you would like to add something on it.
This was mentioned in the lecture.
Yeah, I think Florida scrub jays was covered, or at least mentioned.
Well, they were mentioned, but I don't think their social structure was covered. They were just mentioned as cooperative breeders.
Okay, so then we can discuss more. If anyone has
I think-
any idea about them, yeah, Sachin.
I haven't studied completely about that this exact species, but what I feel
Okay, yeah.
is that yes, there are helpers in the cooperative breeding structure, and they're mentioning this particular slide is mentioning that all the entities are actually making as many social connections as possible,
Yeah,
and the meaning or the reason for that would be like the helpers which are there today may have established another of their own setup for breeding later on.
yeah.
So they may go away. So the current parent may need helpers in the future breeding season or something. So they will just like to cooperate or socialize with others so that they can come to this flock if some flock members go away.
Okay.
So what it means?
Sure, yeah, most of that is valid. Yes, social connections are made. Mostly by also just the helpers, because do you know who are actually helpers in a particular nest?
Usually the same family.
Family
The
members,
offspring, ma'am.
immediate kids, offsprings.
Yeah, so
Some stay back.
siblings, offspring. It's mostly offspring that are helpers in the nest, but I'm not sure in this species or other species there are instances where helpers are also non-kin. So most of them are kin, and they take a lot of time and effort to dispersal of males and females. Do you mean by distribution? Okay, I'll get to that. Let me finish this. What was I saying? Yeah, so helpers are usually offspring. They can be male offspring as well as female offspring, and as Sachin had also mentioned, they do make social connections because they might be having a territory of their own at some point of time, right? So dispersal of males and females, do you mean distribution? Distribution, yeah, sure, you can take that. Dispersal means basically they are leaving their natal territory to set up a territory of their own, right? And do you know if it do you know of any ideas of how males and females disperse from their natal territory to set up their own territories? Any idea? It's a general trend in birds, or at least like passeriforms. Yeah, Govind, do you have any idea on the dispersal of males and
Well,
females?
well, I was going to just point out something about their cooperative breeding nature and social connections. On the Florida subject, my comment is that their reason for cooperative breeding is to build valuable experience and connections. Rather than simply disperse right away, they first build experience and how breeding is performed.
How?
And
Sorry,
also,
your voice is fading.
the reason Florida subjects don't disperse right away is because they are
Yeah, I got it till there. Don't want to disperse right away.
It's because they want to build connections and gain experience, ma'am. They gain experience by helping the breeders, and they also
Gain
build
experience
the
for?
by being and they gain potential helpers, ma'am.
Who is gaining experience? The helper or the breeding pair? Anyone can answer.
What, ma'am?
Who is gaining experience? The helper or the breeding pair?
Helpers.
The helpers.
Because, helpers. They
Yeah.
go on to become the next breeding pair.
Breeders, right? Yeah, correct. Yeah. So, does anyone know about dispersal of males and females?
Males usually disperse more often than the female.
So, in birds, it's a little bit different. So,
Okay.
it's usually the. Okay, does anyone else know? Can't leave it open for a while.
By dispersal, you mean just going away from the nesting or
After
site,
building
right?
the alpha. That is correct.
Uh, yes, Vedang, I'm not.
The beta male, is it that the beta males take over after the alpha is dead?
Yeah, in some structures where they do have an alpha and a beta, yes, the beta can take over when the alpha dies, if there is such kind of a structuring.
Okay. And if it is not, I guess they are using research in the design of travelers that I've seen mostly that they forage and move in groups. So, but then it would be mostly dependent on food availability and other things that they would disperse.
If it's for foraging, yes, but if it is for breeding purposes, they have other advantages, right?
Yes.
So, so helpers in this case try and form social connections as is illustrated in this slide, so that they are equipped enough to set up their own nests and get their own set of helpers once they are ready. So, going back to,
Yes.
yeah. So going back to like the dispersal distances, in usually passeriform birds, it's the female that disperses at a further distance from her natal territory. Natal territory is basically the territory or the nest. Natal site is where she is born. She usually disperses a larger distance from there and sets up a nest of her own. And males usually, male helpers in this case, are they form territories that are adjacent to the natal territory. So, to why this happens, I'm not sure, but that is like the normal trend.
Any, I mean, I know that you don't have the complete idea of why this happens, but are there any clues or indications which have been studied in this aspect?
They probably are, which I am not aware of, but I think it can probably be a good discussion topic. So,
Is
as
it
to it's to minimize like I think genetic similarity.
is it like males are very males really want to confine to the resourceful site, they remain there, whereas female go and explore, or is that very
I don't want to give actually wrong information, but let's discuss this during next class. And also, I think I would like everyone to read up regarding this. So yeah, we could. Why do females disperse further than males? Harni says in some way, this is in some way related to the chromosome, like also, I just wanted to mention I'm calling everybody by the first name that I see. I'm not sure if that is your first name or not, but yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, please. I think it's already like way into this session,
Ma'am?
but yeah. Yeah, so are you not Govind? Are you Sudarshan?
Govind is fine, ma'am.
No, but what is your name though?
Govind.
Oh, it's Govind, it's not Sudarshan, right?
Sudarshan is my surname.
Okay, great. So yeah, we've gotten that right. Okay.
But my question was, what females in birth, do females disperse lesser than males?
No, they disperse further distances than males. Both males and females disperse. They leave the nest, but females disperse at a larger distance from the natal territory than males. So males usually bud off from the parental territory. So they take territories that are adjacent to the parent nest.
Is that because in most cases, not all, the females are the ones that actually lay the eggs and build nests, so they'll be more conscious of.
Conscious of?
They'll be more conscious of that.
Of their own state.
Own nests, whereas the males are focused on winning resources, so they look for the greatest amount of resources in the territory.
That's interesting. Yeah, I am not really sure. I'm not really sure about that, but yeah, maybe just like hold all these thoughts. Yes, Deepthi, would you like to add something?
All birds don't do the same thing, right?
In
The
terms of
females
dispersal,
go away, like all leaves do the same thing, right? They leave the nest, they leave the eggs, and they go to the longer distances from their nest.
which particular species are you talking about?
The quail,
Quails are brood parasites.
the birds which we see in our habitat itself. Yeah.
Yeah, quails
Yeah.
are so their breeding structure is a little bit different. They anyway don't make their own nests, right? So like it really doesn't matter because they are brood parasites. They lay their eggs in other nests, the nests of other birds. But for other passeriform birds, it's most commonly seen that it's the females that disperse larger distances than the males from their natal territory.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. 1 second. I'm just going to finish Harini's thing. I'm not sure if it's linked to the chromosome. Yes, you are correct. In birds, it is W and Z, and it is the females that are. Yes, correct. Z and W, and it is the females that are heterogamous, and it's the males that are like mono. What is it? Monozygotic? No, it's ZZ for the males and Z for the females and ZW. No, ZZ. Oh my god. It's opposite than it is in the humans. So that is.
Monogamic is correct, ma'am.
Yeah, monogamic. Yeah, so it is ZW for females and ZZ for the males. So when you sex them and you use primers, you will find two bands for. Help me out here. No one? Okay, yeah, so males are ZZ, females are ZW. Is this a kind of matriarchal system? No. Matriarchal system is something that is very social. So this is seen in birds that are solitary as well. It's the female that disperses a further distance than the males. But yeah, do look this up and let's discuss this. Deepti, do you have another question?
No, ma'am.
All right, all right. Yeah, sorry, I think your hand is still raised. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next question. What is the primary factor that drives the formation of a mixed species foraging flock in birds? A, C, A.
Ma'am, doesn't all, doesn't first two also, like, not only A, but B and C are also somewhat related to A? Yeah, foraging means food availability, but then it's for mixed foraging flock to happen.
What's the primary factor? Primary. If you had to
Only
rank
primary.
them,
Yeah.
if you had to rank them, primary factor.
Okay, because I thought for mixed species
Ma'am,
foraging, for the species to happen, flock have to happen, there should be social interaction. After the food is, once the food is sighted, and then there should be some interaction between mixed flocks, and then that will help in predation risk, in protection from predation risk also, right? So I got confused with the
Okay, so everyone's mostly gone for A.
Ma'am, doesn't it also include predation as a factor? Adding to Lakshmi's point. I mean, it's, the reason to mixed species flocks are formed is to maximize food availability and minimize predation risk, right, ma'am?
Yeah, I don't think, well, if I had to pick a primary factor, I think I would say predation risk, because I don't think food availability will increase based on access to different sources of food. Yes, probably, but I think it's predation that is the primary factor that would drive formation of mixed foraging flocks. But yeah, social interactions, I don't think birds want to socialize, so that's why they are all coming together. Territoriality is definitely not the answer. So yes, I think it would be shared between predation risk and to minimize predation risk and maximize food availability.
but primarily, as you said, you pointed out primarily if you have to rank, then it has to be A. Because once only if food is available, then they will come together.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think I would beg to differ, but let's probably leave this open.
What if that flock is in an open area somewhere that there is food availability, but then why would the other species join that area when there is easy access to the predation and all these things? Can't that happen?
I didn't
What
quite
I-
get
what I
that.
mean to say
The
is
justification.
Yeah, suppose there is a ground where there is a lot of grains.
Correct.
Okay. Now, this mixed flock is going there for foraging. Okay?
Yeah.
But this increases the predation probability because it's an open ground,
Okay, sure.
right? So, are they going there for food or being protected?
Well, they are going there for food, and they are a mixed species flock because there are sentinel
More
birds
eyes
that
than
can more eyes, and also there are different roles in a mixed species flock, right? So you have like particular species that take the role of alarm calling or warning. Then there are certain species that are ground foragers. Then there are certain species that are leaf foragers. So usually when you see mixed foraging flocking birds, they are not competitors to the same food resource, right? So that's so I mean like everyone has to gain something out of it, right? Because you have the gleaners, then the ones that are gleaning will flush out the flying insects, which will be useful for the birds that prey on flying insects or sallying species, right? So they mixed species foraging flocks usually have birds that have different varied modes of foraging. So you won't find like multiple species of pigeons together in a mixed species flock.
You mean to say that if there are two sites, equal sites, where there is a same food availability, but the species may go to that mixed flock because it's a safer food.
Yes. Yes, but also we must remember that the food resource is different for the different species,
No, I am
right?
saying that. So suppose I am babbler.
Sure.
Okay, I am seeing two locations of the ground where there is similar type of grains available or whatever.
Right.
So I may go to the flock with mixed species than the singular patch of grain where there are no other species.
Yes,
Is that what you mean?
you do have multiple birds that are present in that area, and you now I don't know what is the preference of feeding of babblers, whether they choose to be in mixed flocks or not. I am not really sure
I
on
just
the.
gave an example.
Yeah, it's an interesting question though, Sachin. That's why I would like to take it further. But I think there are certain factors that drive them to exist in mixed species flock, and there are, of course, yes, multiple factors. But yeah,
Although I am still not convinced about the primary factor being.
you're not
species.
convinced
I
about.
don't
Okay,
know.
so that's why I
Yeah.
said, yeah, let's just leave it open. It could be like A or C. I think that's where everyone has probably. Yes, Govind.
I wanted to know how often do mixed species flocks form? Like, how often do babblers and drongos come together?
Oh, like I can tell you, I was currently on field a couple of weeks ago, and I saw mixed species foraging flocks every single day. So,
Where was this?
this is in the Shola Sky Islands in the Western Ghats. So I'll tell you what the species I found. I found drongos that are like greater rackettail drongos that are the sentinel species. Then there were some ground dwelling babblers or laughing thrushes. Uh, sure, Sachin. I'll just I just made this question up, but yeah, we can discuss papers on. I think even one of the papers that Manjari had shared, we can probably discuss that. Yeah,
Sorry.
Govind. Yeah, so drongos, and then there are like laughing thrushes that are the ground species, and then you have the sallying species like paradise flycatchers, etc. So yeah, it's quite common, and then you find like flocks with drongos and minivets. So yeah, nuthatches. It's quite common.
Yes. Were any of them sentinel species?
Well, drongos are usually considered as the sentinel species, and they are the ones that alarm call. But there's another interesting thing about drongos also, right? They,
Leptoparasites?
yeah, so they like fake alarm call so that they can steal food from other birds as well. Yeah. Yes, Deepthi.
So,
Oh, yeah,
so
go
is
with.
it, I was just wondering, if it's possible that different mixed species flocks form for different reasons. Like say in the example you, I don't know if prediction is particularly abundant, so I'm guessing it's more to do with foraging there, and another mixed species flock in a predation-rich or dangerous habitat would form because of predation. Different mixed species flocks form for the comparatively different reasons.
Right. Yeah, so Sachin has put a link of something from the Stanford EDU group regarding mixed species flocking. So, but yeah, we can definitely. Is there a paper reference in this as well, Sachin? If there is, then we can probably just discuss on it. And even, sorry.
Sure, I mean, I'll look for that.
Sure. I'll also.
Study or paper.
I'm just going to open this link so that I can open it later, and we can discuss on this also as well. Okay. Next question. Let's just go to the next question. Oh yes, Deepthi. Sorry. Do you have a question?
No.
Okay. I'm just gonna lower this. Govind, did I answer your question or did it get lost or?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You answered. Sir, where is the link? I can't find it.
Okay, so we'll kind of leave this to further discussion. I'm going to go to the next question for now.
But you mentioned there was a link.
Yeah, the link is in the chat box. Sachin posted a link. Okay, what is cooperative breeding? The process by which two or more birds care for offspring that is not their own, process by which two or more birds share resources, two or more birds socialize, or two or more birds hunt together. Okay, do we have like everyone replying? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I did notice there was a huge dropout already.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
can
go
you
on.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to disturb. I just didn't hear. I couldn't find the link that was posted.
I'm just gonna copy paste it again. I think it's mixed species flock Stanford. If you Google it, you should find it. I'm just putting it once again. So yeah, that's what happens when you leave. I think it wipes out the chat. Okay, so everyone's gotten the right answer. That is correct. Okay, so I'm gonna play this video and you need to tell me. Oh, great. Awesome. There's a ResearchGate publication. Is this by Indian authors? Oh yes, this is
Yes.
Harish Sridhar's paper. Alright, great. He has done huge amount of work. So Hari from Karthik Shankar's lab at ISC, he's done huge, and even Preeti, both of them have done a lot of work on mixed species flocks. So yeah, we can probably have like a mini discussion on this next class. Okay, so I'm gonna play this video. How does this work? And we're going to discuss what kind of social behavior is displayed in this species. Okay, so what's happening here? courtship dance in a leg. Yeah, it's not a leg though. It's not leg.
Two of the males are fighting for, two of the males are showing off for making chances, and the one which is showing off better, the alpha one gets to mate, and the younger one, which the next one, which it seems to have lost, but it is not lost. It has learned a lot of tricks so that it will use in the future. It's more like a symbiotic relationship. Both is learning each other. Kind of cooperative breeding, but not exactly breeding as such, but mating.
Mutualistic.
Mutualistic, yeah, mutualistic. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. So
ma'am.
yeah. So most of the people who have put in legging, yeah, sure, it is leg exhibit, sure, and these are long tail mannequins. And yes, that is a mutualistic social behavior. So why is this actually happening?
And the alpha male can gain greater chances of success by having a partner to show off with, and would also gain greater females. And the partner, even though the partner won't get to mate now, he will gain greater experience. And when the alpha male dies or goes away, it will become the alpha and get a partner of his own to show off like that.
Better reproductive success, the exact thing which I said, for better reproductive success of the population in general.
Okay, sure. I think both of you are correct. Not one is correct over the other one. Yes, correct, sure. Yeah. So in the case of the demise of the alpha male, the beta male gets the chance of replacing the alpha male, and this is a similar social structure in terms of even like cooperative breeders is seen in I think it was acorn woodpeckers. So they do have an alpha and a beta mating pair. So yeah, same thing happens out there.
Oh, Acorn also has. And what is the display that they show?
No, they don't display, but they are cooperative
Like the
nesters. Like in the breeding, once the dominant pair stops breeding or dies or one thing, the beta male or the beta female comes the alpha.
Okay, but there is no display.
No.
Okay.
Nothing related to display. Yeah. Okay. Is the sex ratio skewed in this mannequin? More males than females? I don't know. But why would more males stick around to help another male? Interesting question. I think, Harini, it might be worth looking that up.
But not be conclusive on that, if I may offer my opinion on that.
Sure. Go ahead.
One thing is that if you're just saying that there are two males competing for a female, it may not mean that there are more males. The skew is towards the male. Maybe that region, the congregation has happened that there are more males are coming to show their skills or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not also sure if these groups, like, they are fixed. If one beta joins another group to be another beta, I don't know if they are fixed to one particular group or if they interchange.
Second thing is that the alpha gets all the matings, right? So it also mean that there are more females. It doesn't mean
multiple
actually conclusiveness.
females. Sure. Yeah, I'm again not sure of the mating system in these birds, whether it's polygamous or not, but yeah, probably good to look that up as well. Might give you some clues. Okay, I am going to go to the next question. It seems to be the same. Okay, next. Okay, so tell me, what is the primary purpose of birdsong? Is it to attract mates? Is it to mark a territory? Is it to communicate with other birds, or all of the above? I should not have many primary purpose questions. Hmm. Most appropriate. Okay,
When
let's.
it comes to bird song, it's for A, ma'am.
Okay, sure. A. Okay.
Ma'am, even if it is aggressive, it's actually song or it's called call, ma'am.
Oh,
I'm.
okay,
You can
I'm going
still
to,
have.
yeah, let's just not take this question on face value and let's delete it, but we can discuss the topic. Let's say what's the purpose of birdsong, and birdsong has like multiple different purposes.
The song per se usually has and is identified by variations of notes and frequencies.
Correct.
So most of the times what we have observed is that a congregation or higher bandwidth and most complex structure of the song is used in the mating or the display related aspect. Rather
Sure.
than normal call or communication where there will be similar patterns, not a complex song as such. So I would go for the A to attract mates.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, sure.
because in a way to communicate with other birds may include all other two aspects as well as more importantly B, which will be talking to the birds for marking territory. To attract mates or display, it's a special category I think for what they might be more adapted for.
Since primary purpose is okay, right?
Yeah, song is melodious, and usually song is developed when the bird reaches maturity. So as the melodious song is there, it's for attracting mates.
Sure. I think
Ma'am.
Vedang
Ma'am.
puts a great. Hi, just one second. I think Vedang puts a good, good point there. I mean, let's not just go with the question on face value, but I think you bring up an excellent point because. Okay, so there are two parts to this. So there are birds that are year-round territory holders, and there are birds that are territory holders for only the breeding season. So yes, this is. Oh, I just read the first part of your question, but yes, there are a lot of birds that have very complex songs, and they sing it all throughout the year because they need to defend their territory. So yes, that is correct. Um,
Could I make a point
Yes,
in relation
sure.
to both this and the
Sure,
question?
Govind, go
Ma'am,
ahead.
bird songs are complex form of sound, and they require a lot of effort on the bird's part, ma'am. So it can't be to just communicate with other birds. So that let's point C out. The
Okay.
communication would be simpler vocalization, and also to mark territories. And to like defend territories against rivals, it's lot too much energy will be put into songs, ma'am. It would be inefficient to put so much energy into songs to defend territory. So, so I think it would be A, since songs are designed more to attract than to repel.
Let's say I beg to differ. You should meet my study species that just is crazy about singing. We don't know why it sings so much or what is the biological reason behind singing so much. But yeah, it might not just be for mate choice but also play an important role in territorial defense.
What's the species?
Oh, it's the white-bellied cholakili, which is
In Western Ghats side, huh?
yes,
Chola forest.
yes, correct. So I think the next week is on acoustics, so we'll probably have some more exciting sessions on that. I could also tell you more about what I do, and we could have discussions on that as well. So yeah, so basically, let's just scrap the particular purpose of birdsong question. But yes, birds do use songs to attract mates primarily and defend their territories, and also to communicate with other birds. Yes, there's a difference between calls and songs. It's very different to identify what is a call, what is a song, and how to classify them. So people are still in the process of trying to put a bin onto it, but yeah, it's difficult to classify a call and a song. It's very difficult because it depends on how it sounds to you. So everybody usually goes on melody to classify it as a song, but yeah, it's again subjective. So yeah, I'm going to just move to the next question. um,
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to know what was Govind's point because I lost the connection due to current cut.
okay, Govind, would you like to repeat your point?
Okay, my point was when it comes to bird songs, for option C to communicate with other birds, simple communication wouldn't require such effort since bird songs are elaborate and require effort on the bird's part. So I don't think C would apply when it comes to a bird song in particular. And to mark territories or repel and defend territories against rivals, a song wouldn't be appropriate because it consumes too much energy and it would require a continuous songs that are for a long,
Expenditure of energy.
comparatively long, yeah, long period of time, so it would be inefficient. So I think it would be during the mate, to attract mates for a particular season would be more appropriate.
Thank you.
Okay, so if a bird does not defend its territory throughout the year and does not have a territory in the next year, then what is this purpose of bird song to attract a mate if it doesn't have a territory? How does that work?
Well, that wasn't my point. My point was that they simply don't use the bird songs to defend territories. They may use some other method. Bird songs are reserved for attracting mates.
Okay, no, that's actually not true because songs are used in territorial defense because you do have the dawn chorus, which is a very highly complex repertoire that birds usually burst out with in the morning. So that is usually believed to be for marking their territories. I'm sure you.
In such
Sorry?
in such a case, wouldn't their territory be for breeding?
Yes, a territory is defended for breeding and it has to be defended throughout the year. So, a female is not going to be there throughout the year. A female might be passing by during the breeding season or not. Yes, certain components of song can be different for attracting a mate or not. But there are a lot of complex vocalizations that are used in territorial defense as well. And there are different, well, I think we're just like losing all acoustic content in this, but you might have heard of yeah.
Would we call the chorus what you mentioned as a bird song?
Yeah, of course, it's bird song. Dawn chorus, birds are singing, right? They're not just they are singing songs in the morning.
The species of the bird?
Multiple species of birds, multiple species. Like I can speak for the Shola forest. Like you have blackbirds that have highly complicated songs, and you have gray-headed canary flycatchers. You have the Nilgiri flycatcher, the white-bellied cholakili, the black and orange flycatcher. So they all sing in the morning. If you and they sing at like the onset of singing is very different. Some species start singing earlier than other species, but they're all singing, and it's highly unlikely that a female is it's for attracting a mate at that point of time in the morning, but it's more for defending a territory. Of course, they need to defend territories to hold that because that is also an indicator of quality of the male.
Ma'am, territorial defense means it, most of them doesn't about aggression, and if it is aggression, then it has to be calls. Songs are
Not
different and calls are different, ma'am.
sure. It does not need to be a bird that is actively like attacking another bird. I think we are again like anthropomorphizing the whole thing. But yes, they do alarm call if another bird enters in. But to maintain territories, these birds have certain areas known as like perches or song posts where they frequent and sing like throughout the day or at different points of the day, most often in the morning.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, to advertise that, yeah, this is like my territory in this area. And they choose like probably different posts during different days as well.
Ma'am, is it possible to observe this song post, as you said, song purchase in an urban setting? Ma'am, like I'm interested in that. It sounds very interesting.
I don't know if you have birds that are territorial in an urban city. If you do find any, I'm not aware, but it's probably easier if you have. Oh, yeah, you could check for magpie robins. They have complex songs. I am not sure of how large their territories are. Oriental magpie robins are also very widespread. So, that's probably something that you could look into potentially.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. They are nearby also.
Yeah, so
That's right.
yeah, they have pretty complex songs as well.
So we can observe the song purchase in that species, ma'am.
Yes, sure. I mean, if you see that a bird is, but the thing is, you need to have probably marked individuals. So it's just easier if you know that it is that particular magpie robin and not any other magpie robin. You
Yeah,
know,
I got it, ma'am.
choosing to be there.
I got it.
Okay, Vedang says OMRs are quite territorial and offensive and they're not just into defense. Okay, sure. Yeah, some other behavioral tips coming up. Okay, I'm just going to go to the next question, which is probably pretty obvious. So you can just use the chat box to type what it is. Oh, we are already out of time. I just realized. I had one more interesting, couple of more. Okay, we can do that next time. Yeah. Endemic birds of Western Ghats. Yay! Sure. Could you different species at same place? Okay, mixed flock, couple of mixed flock. Yes, it's actually a mixed foraging flock out here. Yeah, I'm actually not sure of all the species, but I can identify some of them. But yeah, MSF. Oh, okay, mixed species flock. Okay.
Ma'am, doesn't it show different niches?
Lakshmi, I lost you, but yes, different niches. You are absolutely correct, and mixed foraging species flocks do occupy different niches, as we were discussing earlier. I don't know if you can hear us. Hello? Okay. I'm audible, right, to others? I'm assuming you all can hear me. So yeah, I think whatever Lakshmi mentioned is correct. Nuclear species. I'm not sure of that term. Oh, the one that is like the leader or holds the flock together. Sure, probably. Yeah. There is, I think, a lot of studies that go into figuring out which of the species is like the primary one or the leader, not a leader, but yeah, the nuclear species of mixed foraging flocks as well. And yes, they do occupy different niches of foraging, and that's the whole point of. Oh, Vedang has identified yellow-throated bulbul, brown cheek fulvetta, Malabar, Trogon. Yes, correct. Looks a bit odd though, but yeah. Orange minivet, racket-tailed drongo, flameback species, nuthatch species. Yeah. Yeah, all good. All good. Indian paradise flycatcher, Iora. Okay. Yeah, sure. Racket-tailed drongo. I think that's a white-bellied drongo on the top, but I'm not really sure. Or an ashy drongo. Can't really make out. Black cap monarch. Yes, correct. Malabar looks to be from Kerala. Actually, you find Malabar trogons even in higher up, and also like in Karnataka.
Higher up meaning where?
Like in Karnataka or even
Oh,
Tamil
yeah.
Nadu.
Yeah, mostly confined, I think, towards that region. So I was
Yeah,
towards
sure.
that.
I mean, I think it's general Western Ghats is kind of like
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Yeah, cool. I think everyone's gotten that correct. Yup, yellow brood bulbuls. All right. Does anyone have any particular questions that we could check up in the next class? We have a couple of things that already interesting things that have been brought up in this session that we could probably take forward. I think one of the main ones was the dispersal distances as to males and females from the natal territory. So that will be good if we can read up on that, and I can also potentially have a slide on that. So, yeah, I think cool. Let's meet next week where we have acoustics. So, lots more discussion for next week on acoustics, and yeah, I can discuss some of my work as well. Yes, Lakshmi. Yeah.
Ma'am, I lost the connection. What was your reply to what I asked, ma'am? The mixed species. Different
Yeah,
niches.
you are correct. Yeah. I said you are correct. Yes, they do apply, occupy different niches because mixed foraging species flocks do have different foraging habits. So, yes, they do occupy different strata and they have different foraging strategies as well. So, yeah, you're correct on that.
Ma'am,
What
just in a mixed
was
species,
it all about, ma'am?
What? Sorry?
What was it all about, ma'am? That there was some list of bird species. I couldn't.
Everyone was just trying to identify what the species were. So, yeah, that's all.
ma'am, my question, in a mixed species flock, different members may have different foraging styles, but that doesn't mean they have different niches, right, ma'am? They could all go after the same prey.
So, the different prey will also be in different locations, right? So, like the ground foraging ones will eat insects that are found on the ground versus the the saling ones will forage on insects that are flying because they're saling species. Woodpeckers will be pecking, they won't be like flying and catching prey. So, that makes sense?
Ma'am, but in such a case, then there would be one of the main reasons we discussed for a mixed species flock being for foraging
Food
benefits would
availability,
be
yeah.
gone, right,
So
ma'am?
I think we had like food availability and predation to be there was no like hard and fast answer on that. Yeah.
Ma'am, one of the topics I want you to address in the next coming sessions or something is, I'm quite a bit confused between altruism and mutualism, ma'am.
Okay,
So,
sure.
can you just because if you see, when I get the examples of it in the question papers or something like that, from one side it is like altruism, it looks like altruism, but the other side of the coin it looks like mutualism. So I'm quite confused.
Okay.
So when it comes in the multiple choice questions,
Sure.
I feel like both the answers are same, but actually only one answer will be the right, no, ma'am. That's
Sure.
correct.
We'll discuss the concept on that. Got that. Yeah.
Ma'am, well, if what you're saying was true about mixed species flocks having different niches, then wouldn't the food, one of the reasons being food availability disappear, since if they are both hunting, if they're all hunting different prey, then there would be no reason for them to hunt together, forage together.
Oh, that's assisted, right? So now if a gleaning species or a foraging species is walking on the ground it's like flushing out insects that fly, and then once the insects are flying, the saline species get into action and kill those or eat those, if that makes sense.
That makes sense, ma'am, but that means they have at the very least overlapping niches and some kind of competition since they're all
Yeah,
the
sure.
similar prey.
Exactly. So it's not, again, it's not black and white. There is some form of cooperation, but if they all had the same food source, then there would be so much competition, right? Come to think of it.
So in a mixed species flock, there is some overlap, there is some common food source.
There will probably be some common, like the ground foragers, there might be multiple species of ground foragers, one or two species of ground foragers, one or two species of saline species, one or two species of gleaners, you know. Like you won't find like probably all ground foragers and all granivorous. Maybe some are granivorous, some are insectivorous. Yeah, because if all of them are attacking the same food source, there would be competition and there would be no advantage of being in a mixed species flock unless one particular species type is a great sentinel species. So here you have the drongo that is known to be a sentinel species and is known to alarm call. So that's what I think someone had asked about, like how did mixed species evolve as well. So yeah, we can probably like read up, and there's like no one single answer to this.
Ma'am, I would like to say that I add on to what Vedang and Dr. Vedang had asked in the chat box, and I too wanted to know the research methodologies about discussion about research methodologies, ma'am.
Okay, so I think for that, research methodologies, we'll have to have like a paper discussion. I'm not sure if we are like allowed to have that kind of thing, because it's very time intensive.
Okay. I thought maybe if you or the other person who is presenting, they have any past papers, a small project or something to take up and explain how it is done.
Yes, Vedang, you can probably explain.
Yeah, ma'am, I was asking if it is possible to consider hypothetical situations and then discuss the designs and methodology.
Oh, like what we were doing right now, like with the humming.
With possible research questions, like you can create research questions as well as address to them by, hypothesizing and then going about by the possible research methodologies which could be done and which then we can refine on it.
Okay, sure. So you mean like, was it like the if birds choose to forage on brightly colored flowers kind of questions?
Yes, something like that.
Okay, sure.
Yes, something like that, ma'am.
Sure. Cool. Yeah.
Ma'am, I would also like some examples from actual papers or something, ma'am, because hypothesizing is different and reality is
but I
different.
think
saying that it is not possible to be done.
Yeah, I think that's very time consuming, and I think you would need to have like paper reading sessions. So what we usually do is we give out papers and we ask people to summarize them. So it's probably out of the scope of the discussion session.
Is there any other links or something where I can look it up, ma'am?
Well, you can find papers
Because
anywhere.
because all these hypotheses is like hypothesis. They are fictional conditions and fictional questions. How it relates to real time research is going on, that's what I wanted. Because in the hypothesis, everything will be ideal.
In my opinion, I feel research methodologies can be very different and every research question can be addressed in different ways. So it needn't be wrong to do something in a certain way. It might be inappropriate possibly, or maybe less than the best. But it can always be discussed. So hypothetical situations are a very good start on, I feel.
Yeah, this
being a person from research side, of course from medical side, but that's how we do it.
I think that's a good way of putting it, because there can be multiple ways in which somebody is trying to answer the same question, and that's what happens in science, right? There is no one exact way to answer one question, and that's the cool part about science, I think.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, so otherwise if you take a study and if you just answer it, then you are just like, okay, it can just be done in this way. But actually that one study is an amalgamation of several different studies, right? That's why you have like an introduction which covers like what all has been done in this field now to address this and what more I am adding to it or the author is adding to it.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, I got the point now.
Right.
Ma'am,
Yeah, Govind.
is there any way to get like the previous?
Yeah, I read
exam
that someone
paper?
else put this as well, Deepthi. I don't think so. There's no previous question paper. I don't think everyone should stress out about question papers and marks and like scoring or everything. In this, I think the whole idea is just to learn, and I think NPTEL in the course itself provides like a plethora of questions, right? So every week you have multiple choice questions. Jobin has a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions. So in terms of like a question repository, you guys have like a good question source.
Well, the reason for my question was that I noticed that the assignment questions this year have some similarity, not always, but there is some similarity with the previous year's assignment.
Okay.
So I was just wondering if it applied to the exam as well.
So what is this, to score 100 on 100 or something? If it's similar?
Ma'am, all these
Just
sources
a trade
which you,
advantage.
Yeah,
Ma'am, all these
don't worry
sources-
about that. Yeah, Lakshmi, what?
all these sources with these assignments and these links and all, will it be available even after the course is ended, or like it all into a course?
Yeah, no, it's all available. Like all these lectures are on YouTube, right? And everything is like open source. Nothing is taken off.
Okay, I'm asking
Yes,
about
I can.
assignment questions, ma'am.
Sorry?
All those weekly assignment questions.
Yeah. Everything is accessible. Govind just said he saw last year's, so yeah, it should all be available.
Yes, I did the questions last year, ma'am, so I have a sort of reference for this year's
you
assignment.
should post this on the discussion forum, Govind. Yeah, if you can access last year's questions or not. But I'm sure it like really doesn't matter. If you know your concepts, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And since you have been like also actively participating in discussions, I'm sure it should not make much of a difference. Yes, Deepthi.
Well, it can't hurt to have an advantage, ma'am.
There, that's what I'm saying. Don't worry about the marks. This is not.
Ma'am, I need to leave, ma'am. Current cut again.
Yes. Please. Yeah, it's way past time. All right. See you, everyone.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thanks. Bye.